So I found something I've been hunting for a while. Nest onions, multiplier onions, and I need your help to help me figure it out. So a while back, I had a customer come in from Athens, Georgia that comes by and sees us from time to time. He's an older fella, got a little gray hair like I do. And we were sitting down talking, and I love to talk to my customers because I'm always learning something. But he mentioned something to me that I hadn't heard in a long time, nest onions. And I thought, man, that's something that I hadn't even thought about in years. So I started doing a little research after he left, and I got caught up in it a little bit, and I stayed on the computer for quite a while researching nest onions, multiplier onions, anything I could think about. And to my surprise, I couldn't find hardly anything. He had also told me that he was having a hard time sourcing them. So let me give you just a little bit of background here. If you've got gray hair and got a little age on you as I do, and you was brought up in the South, then you probably back in the day when you were small heard your grandparents or your parents talking about nest onions, multiplier onions, or spring onions. This was an onion that they planted back in the day, and they used, and it was a little different than the onion that we used to growing now. So I thought to myself, I got to get my hands on some of these. So I called around everywhere, and I stayed on the computer. I called all the local feed and seed stores. Nobody had any. Computer, I said, surely I can buy them online. Well, I ended up on Baker Creek's website, and I found something that I thought would work, but it didn't, and I'll get to that later. So after a few more days, I called a few more feed and seed stores around in my area, and finally in Thomas County I found some. So I said, how many you got? They said, oh, we got a few pounds. I said, I'll take them, hold them. So we went and got them, bought all they had, and brought them back, and it was exactly what I remember. Now, that being said, the nest onions or the multiplier onions that you find online was different than these. So I said, I got to do a little research here, and I got to find out what's going on. Well, here they are. These are the nest onions that I found. And if you look at them, they look kind of like a shallot. They're not really round. This is exactly what I remember. And they put on a nice green top there. And a lot of people ate the bulbs or ate the green top, or either they just cut the green top off and ate. But you can see here, it sort of resembles a shallot, but I don't think it is. I think it's strictly an onion. Now this is the one we're used to growing in the South. This is the one that when I showed a couple people that I thought should know, this is them. So I got questions about them that I don't remember, or either I can't find out from other people. Now you see here, they grow in little clumps. So what you would do is you would come out when you got ready for some onions, and you would peel one off, cover them back up, and you still have more there, and they would multiply again. They grow in little sets. See if I can find another one here. There's another one. It's already been peeled off. Here's one here. You see there's two. They would be 3 to 4, maybe 5 in a bunch there. If you peeled one off, it simply made another one. Now these onions were mainly used for eating when they were growing. So you would plant them, and as you needed the onions, you would go out there and peel off what you needed. I don't remember these being good storage onions. When we think about a storage onion, we think about a sweet onion that makes a big bulb and they store well. I don't think these were necessarily used for that. Back in the day, I think these were used to go out there together as you need them. And what was so great about these is it's a very sustainable food source, because you plant these, you eat on them, use them as you need them all through till they get ready to harvest them. Then you dig them up, you dry these sets out, and then next year you got your sets or your seed stock to go back into the ground. You never have to buy them again. A lot of these were passed down generation to generation to generation, and they've been in families for years. But here is what I think happened. I think back in the 80s and the 90s and maybe the early 2000s, people got used to eating big onions. Now, I like a raw onion. I like to put onion on my salad. I like to put a raw onion on my sandwich, and I like to eat raw onion when I eat fish. But this is not the onion for that. So I think people got used to eating those raw onions and having a sweeter onion, and these kind of went by the wayside. This onion here has a more complex flavor to it, and it's not really considered a sweet onion. So they mostly was used for cooking, or either the green tops were cut off and used in a salad or garnish or whatever. The green tops, best my memory serves me, were probably pretty much the same as what the sweet onion green tops taste like, but the bulbs was definitely different. A lot more complex, bolder flavor profile that was mainly used for cooking. Okay, so what I did is when I found these right here, and I had found on Baker Creek's website, with my research I did, I had found another onion called the Shirley Hammock onion. And I didn't think it looked exactly what I thought they should, so I ordered some. And what I got in was right here. This is the Shirley Hammock onion that they sell off Baker Creek's website. So I did some research. I ended up talking to, they come out of South Carolina. I ended up talking to the lady's granddaughter in South Carolina that are selling these to Baker Creek, and we had a nice little conversation. And she said that they grew them, but they sold everything they had, and they didn't have any extra. So I ordered these off Baker Creek. I paid $11 for 12 bulbs, which I thought was a little bit expensive, but it is what it is. Now, as you can see right here, this is different. This is what is classified as a potato onion. And you can see it's rounder. Is it a multiplying onion? Yes. Is it a perennial onion? Yes. Can it be classified as a nesting onion? Probably so. But it makes a lot rounder bulb than these do. These are not what I remember. And the people I talked to, the old people around here, told me the same thing. This was not what they remember. They tell me that this onion has a lot different flavor profile than the potato onion does. And I definitely want to try and see what the difference is. The potato onion definitely makes a little bigger bulb. Wow, that's pretty bold. Woo! Now I'm going to try this one. Whoops, I dropped it. Yep, both of them's pretty bold. The potato onion to me is a little hotter than this one is right here. I probably would prefer this. If you like really spicy stuff, that potato onion is probably good for you. When you do research on the internet and you come up with multiplier onions, nest onions, this is pretty much what I've, now that's a huge one right there. So let's move that one out of the way. Most of them was about this size right here. So this is what we come up with. Now, I don't know, I did some, what research I did, I found you pretty much could grow these in a lot of different places, even up north they could grow them well. But here is my issue. I don't know that much about these, and this is what I want to know about, because this is the onion that I'm interested in, that I remember, and that everybody in the deep south thinks about when they think about nest onions, multiplier onions. Some people even call them spring onions. I talked to a lady, Miss Joyce Murphy, out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which is lower Mississippi, and she remembered the same thing I did. She remembered growing them as a grandparent. She said her sister even grew them, and she said they would go out there and get them as they need them. Because what you have to understand, this day and time, if we need an onion and we don't have an onion, we just hop in our car and we think we can run to the grocery store and pick up real quick, we pick up an onion. That's not what happened back in the day. You may do what you had, and you always had you some onions growing out in the garden in case you needed an onion. You went out there, pulled you one off, covered it back up, and you had onion to go in your dish. So she remembered it. We had a nice conversation with her. She remembered these right here just like I did. So I also talked to Stanley, and Stanley said he grew these in northern Alabama back in the 90s. Now Stanley lives in North Florida now and he still grows them, but he said he remembers started growing them in North Alabama back in the early 90s. Now, some people say that they seeded out. Some people say they didn't. I don't remember them seeding out. I remember when the tops started dying back, that's when you harvest them for your seed stock for next year. You harvest them, you laid them out to dry for a few days, and then you bagged them up in an old, what we call onion sack or a mesh bag, so they got plenty of air, and you hung them up in your barn, and you had your seed stock. Some people planted them at different times. Some people tell me they planted them about the same time they do iced potatoes here in the South, was around February the 14th to the 28th. However, what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to plant these in November just like I do my sweet onion plants. When I get my plants in from my sweet onions, I'm going to plant them in November, and I'm going to plant these at the same time. I think you could plant them in the springtime. I think they are probably going to be extremely heat tolerant, and they're going to last longer than my regular onions do. And we'll see. I think the harvest date on these right here for seed stock in my area, which is zone 8, is going to be somewhere around end of May, 1st of June, when those tops start dying back. Now, if I see a seed crop coming on top of them, they start to bloom and they start to make a seed, then I got to revamp. I got to do something different. I don't remember that happening. A couple of people told me they did, so we'll wait and see on these right here. I have got a few pounds of these right here, and I'm going to plant them. Now, they come out of Thomas County, Georgia, and I know this is an old heirloom onion, and I'm going to call it the Tom onion, T-H-O-M onion. I'm going to plant these this year, and my hopes is that these onions do really well like I remember them doing, and we're going to bring this particular variety of onion back, and we're going to have it so it's available to the public to buy. My personal opinion is that everybody should be growing this onion in their kitchen garden. I think it's one of those things you've got to grow. When you need an onion, you simply go out there and get it. It has very profound flavor profile to it, and it is what I classify as a cooking onion. So I need your help to tell me if you know about this variety, if this looks familiar to you. Not the potato onion, because I'm not really interested in the potato onion. But if this looks familiar to you, and you've grown it, and you've got information on it, you know, can it grow up north? How far up north will it grow? When do you plant it in your zone? When do you harvest it? Any information like that would be greatly appreciated. If you could share that with us in the contacts below, and let us know your thoughts on this onion. If you do not know about this onion, well, you need to subscribe to our channel. Hit that red button below, subscribe to our channel. Keep up with what's going on with this onion here. My hopes is by the springtime that we have a good seed crop, and we may be able to share some of these with you, and you can have them in your garden. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.